Good evening. This is Daily Recall, March 28th, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Hope everybody is having a nice Saturday night. So, still looking at the Iran war, about almost a month into it. Busy weekend. We were saying last night, Iran did a preemptive attack on some U.S. troops in Kuwait. Although you wouldn't know it because it's not on the U.S. news at all. It's all on Twitter and stuff, and maybe Al Jazeera, but nothing on the U.S. news. It's crazy. Every time I go on Fox News, they're talking about something totally not related to the Iran war. I mean, meanwhile, Al Jazeera is like 24 hours live coverage of like all the different countries involved. So it's weird. It's like there's no war going on if you would just watch American networks. And whatever, when they do talk about Iran, it's everything's great. Especially Fox, like, oh, everything's going great. The little time they do talk about Iran. So it's fascinating to see how much censorship there is going on. Like, there's been a month of fighting, and so far they've only announced 13 dead, killed, U.S. soldiers dead. Like, it has to be higher than that. So who knows what they're hiding? Like that aircraft carrier had to leave. They blamed it on the laundry room fire. Like, come on. So they're hiding a lot. And, there's always this happens in war. They want to hide the bad news. But you can only hide it for so long, I guess. So looks like Iran's getting pummeled today after they did bunch of strikes yesterday on Saudi Arabia. They destroyed some U.S. planes. Important planes too, like the refueling planes and the radar planes. And they bombed some of the Gulf countries pretty bad. I mean, and Israel, of course, is getting hit. And now the Houthis too, the Yemen is entered. They came off the bench. They were being held back in reserve, and now they're on the field of play, and they're sending missiles over to Israel. And they also could shut the Red Sea too, from their end. So, a lot going on this weekend. Like Iran's getting hit. Like they hit a university, and now they're hitting like all sorts of a water plant today. I think like produces water, supplies water to the region. So yeah, they're going after like that kind of stuff now, and Iran's said they're going to do the same to Israel and the Gulf states, who they need those water plants. It's just crazy. See where it ends. But the price of gas here in Sarnia has been pretty constant. I mean, it went up, but we're sitting around 164. And we're lucky. I know it went up, and there's some countries that are in like a state of emergency because they don't have any gas. Unlike Canada, we actually have gas, even though we have to pay more as a result of this bullshit. But yeah, it hasn't changed yet, so I'm sure it'll go up. All right, so we'll just look at the days happening. I'm still suspended on X till Tuesday, so I can't really. All I am is in read mode, which is kind of annoying. So usually I organize stuff a little. So we'll start with the Canadian angle, which is kind of funny. Canada's been kind of quiet for news because everybody's kind of focused on Iran because it's really affecting the whole world economy, and a lot of world leaders, government have to figure out how to react to all this fast moving action. So that's why I don't think you're seeing much in Canada. Everybody's kind of focused on this. Like, I think Canada's got a lot of issues to deal with. But until this thing's settled, it doesn't really matter of what's going on in Canada. If like there's a world war, and it doesn't really matter if there's too many Indians in Canada. Like, I suppose. Well, it does matter, but if this is kind of everybody's focus right now. So but there is a Canadian angle tonight. Wab Kinew, who was the premier of Manitoba, there he is. He's a NDP premier of Manitoba, and basically, I don't agree with anything like he says. Like, he's probably pro-immigration, pro-DEI, LGBTQ, all that woke nonsense. I don't know if he's into that. I think he maybe just has to get the NDP leadership in Manitoba. But I don't agree with a lot that he said, but I did agree with what he said here. And he did have some choice comments for pedophiles too. So he's got a thing against pedophiles, which is fine. That's a good thing. So he called it, he said, let the Epstein class, I'm assuming he's at the NDP convention this weekend. And he gave one of the speeches. And he said, let the Epstein class fight the Epstein war. No Canadian should be put in harm's way for this thing, and no American kid either. So basically he's saying Canada shouldn't get involved. And the people running the war are total corrupt pedophiles. That's what he's saying. And totally, he's hilarious. I think it's hilarious because it's probably the best response out of all the three leaders. It is the best response out of the three. Like, Carney's been more waffle, kind of right down the middle. Pierre's a total Zionist, so he would have had Canada joining for sure. But so I thought that was the best answer. But he's not a federal leader. He's a provincial leader. But I think it's the best thing by a mainstream politician, like elected politician. But a lot of people are attacking him. They're calling him anti-Semitic for saying something like that. It's like, what's a Epstein pedophile have to do with anti-Semitism? I know they're all Jewish, but he's just stating facts. Anyway, let's listen to him say this.
Epstein class fight let the Epstein class fight the Epstein war. Not a single Canadian should ever be put in harm's way to try and defend Donald Trump's foolish Iranian war. I'll go a step further. I don't say no American either. No American child from the blue collar or the middle class should have to die in Iran. Let the Epstein class fight the Epstein war.
Okay. Like, I totally agree. And people are like, oh, but I mean, you can agree with him on this and not agree with all the other stuff. Like, it's not rocket science. But all the Zionist grifters, the shekel takers in Canada are all aghast at Wab Kinew saying the Epstein class shouldn't be starting wars. Like, it's kind of a weird position to take. It's kind of weird. There's Mario, shekel taker. Mario, he might sue me for saying that. He's like, Wob, brother, you got charged with beating your girlfriend and refused to blow in her breathalyzer. So basically he says maybe sit this one out. Because like Rob had a few run-ins with the law, I guess. I mean, so have other people, apparently. But I don't understand what that has to do with the fact that these Epstein pedophiles are running the war. Like, what's that have to do with it? Mario, are you defending pedophiles? Mario's defending pedophiles, as usual. Didn't he's defended the C4 stuff. Oh, he might sue me for sure. No, I don't give a shit. He didn't have no problem with the C4, Bill C4, whatever. With the transgender stuff, now this. He's defending the pedophile. He's on the side of the pedophile, the Epstein pedophiles. Mario, he's so outraged. I mean, you can attack Wob Canoe for lots of different things, but for this, you're going to attack him for this. He's spitting truth on this one thing. I like this comment. Whoa, Mario, is this the hill you want to die on? I'm no Wob fan, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. And then it's like, Mario, are you completely retarded? 100% the Iran war was started to distract from the Epstein files, and if you think anything else, you are clueless. This post completely changes my opinion of your journalism. Well, I already knew the guy was a Zionist shill. Mario will say anything for money. He's worse than a prostitute. Okay. So yeah, a lot of Zionists in Canada are so upset with Wob Canoe for saying this. It's like, there's so many, you can criticize him on other things, but why are you going to criticize him? Here's Kirk Lubomov, who, this guy blocked me. I don't know why he blocked me. He's calling one of the dumbest Canadian politicians on the geopolitics file is Manitoba Premier Wob Canoe, who thinks the war in Iran is because of the Epstein files. Might not be because of the Epstein files, but the same people who are in the Epstein files, the same people, get it, are the same ones running this war. The same group. The Epstein class. Okay. So even some international, some international accounts have posted this. So it's kind of funny. That's all. I thought it was funny. All right. So we're at about a month into the war. Either it goes totally. This guy from Pakistan, I think, the Pakistanis are freaking out because they're right beside this mess and they have their own problems. So yeah, things could totally destabilize Pakistan too. But they're like, if this doesn't get resolved in like a week, it's gonna go totally World War III. That's what this Pakistani politician was saying. So I don't know if it was right. He's right, but I thought it was interesting. Like, things will spiral. I don't think people understand because you don't see it on the news. You wouldn't know there's anything going on if you watch the news. Just the odd update on how things are going great. Here's Mark Levin. He makes the case for putting troops on the ground in Iran. This is his show tonight on Fox. Why would we need troops on the ground? We've got to get the uranium. Iran can make dirty bombs. You need to get to the uranium. So basically they're saying, they were saying no, Iran has nuclear weapons. And now they're saying they're going to make dirty bombs. So not nuclear weapons, dirty bombs, which are bad, of course, but see how they change the goalposts. Now we got to go in and get the uranium. That's the justification for boots on the ground. They're saying that all week too, like about negotiations and peace talks, because they're getting people ready for the boots on the ground. They're going to say, oh, we tried negotiating and they won't negotiate. And now they're saying this, we got to go in and get the, whatever, the uranium. Let's see what this crazy guy says. I hate this guy. This is why I got blocked on, suspended on Twitter, because I said he should be sent to Guantanamo and get waterboarded. And I kind of knew I should have, when I said press send, I said, shit. In the AI on X right away. No judge, jury, nothing. Just you're suspended. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have said about Mark Levin to get waterboarded because he's a traitor. So I'm not going to say that again because I don't want to get suspended, especially during the week. Like we're on the cusp of World War III and I get suspended. It's very, what's the word? I feel helpless, or it's a helpless feeling because you can't do any. You want to comment on something and you can't. There's so much going on. Like literally every 2 hours there's something new going on. Let's listen to this guy. I don't want to listen to him.
He said no troops on the ground. Like war troops on the ground. He said no troops on the ground. I don't remember that in any campaign.
Don't remember to say that.
But why would we need troops on the ground? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this year.
So we went from regime change, the regime will collapse with some bombing, to we need boots on the ground. Just a few boots on the ground to take Carg Island. Now just a few more boots to take the uranium. No, but this time it's not 300,000. It's just a few. So in 2 months, Mark Levin will be on his show saying, this is why we need the 300,000. See how that moves the goalposts. These guys are such crooks, such liars, criminals. Netanyahu, criminal. They've been trying to put him in jail for 10 years, and this guy's starting World War. How's that possible? Like, usually criminals like him can't even get a job with a criminal record or criminal charges. But he's running the U.S. government. This guy, too.
Uranium, too. We've got to get the uranium.
We've got to get it.
Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this uranium.
We won't need 300,000 until 2 months. In 2 months, and then I'll have to tell you why we need 300.
We've got to get the uranium.
We got to get the uranium.
If it cannot be destroyed, if it cannot be altered, we got to get it. For the reason I just said.
We got to get the uranium.
You can make dirty bombs.
Dirty bombs.
And over time, you can still make sophisticated missiles.
Sophisticated missiles.
So you need to get to the uranium.
Look at this expert on military.
That's why I'm reading in the paper, we're talking about the 82nd Airborne, we're talking about these various special forces and the various military services and so forth. He's not talking about sending regular army and infantry in by the hundreds of thousands.
Not yet.
The men he's talking about, the units he's talking about, they are specialized. And you know what else? I remember from my days in the Reagan administration. Many of them are trained for a moment like this.
Yes. To die for Israel.
Try and secure enriched uranium. Many have been trained for moments like this.
Trained to die for Israel. That's
troops
kind of
on
true.
The ground. He said no troops on the ground.
That's him trying to. So basically, that's a line now. We need the troops on the ground, but there's only going to be a few. But we need it. We have no choice. And literally, these clowns, these Epstein, the Epstein class, they were literally saying the opposite. Oh, the regime will collapse. The regime will collapse. I think they knew they were going to put troops on the ground right at the start. They just didn't want to say it until they basically slow walk you into this. For the Americans, I don't know. American soldiers shouldn't be going into this. Here's Jeremy McKenzie. He's Said the NDP sucks and political parties are irrelevant, but what Wab Kinew said was the truest thing spoken by any politician here in decades. Pay close attention to all of the Jewish supremacist warmongers and Epstein deniers denouncing him. They are the real enemies of Canada. Yeah, Wyatt Claypool, he was saying stuff. Like, they're all, like, triggered because Wab Kinew mentioned he's against the war and he mentioned Epstein. So it's like anti-Semite. This anti-Semite thing. Here's another. Canadian Jews are posting about Wab Kinew as if the Epstein scandal, the biggest in the United States history, is some sort of conspiracy theory. Thank you for demonstrating to everyone what your priorities are. Yes. The true mask. The masks have fallen. All right. Look at this. President Trump is urging the country to watch Mark Levin's show tonight, where he will explain why the U.S. needs to continue bombing Iran and put ground troops. Look at this devil. Demon. Little fat demon. Actually, he's kind of tall. He's a fat, tall demon. Or, yeah. Demon, though. Okay. This is... New York Times admits Pentagon has no real targets in Iran because their forces are decentralized. So Trump and Israel are intentionally bombing entire residential blocks and hospitals to cause maximum trauma. It is the Israeli playbook. Well, they bombed a university yesterday. And I've been seeing reports today of buildings in Tehran getting bombed. So yeah. Well, they did it in Gaza. They do it in Beirut all the time. So why not? I guess Israel was saying they want to assassinate the Syrian president now. I think they assassinated the parliament speaker for Iran today. That's what they do. I think the parliament speaker is the one Trump was saying that they would talk with. So it's like they got him killed, man. And then, Israel bombed Gaza too just now. Israel murdered 4 police officers and wounded others in a shelling that targeted a police checkpoint south of Khan Yunis city, south of the Gaza Strip. Yeah, so Gaza's destroyed. I'm sure they'll all come here to Canada now. Thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing, Israel. They just like to bomb people. But when you get down to on the ground combat, they get their asses handed to them. It's easy to bomb women and children, I guess. Okay. Oh, here it is. Al Jazeera concern. I've been watching a lot of Al Jazeera just because they're like covering this war nonstop. I know people say, "Oh, you're falling for propaganda." Like, yeah, I try to watch all the shows. But for actual coverage of the war, they're on it all the time. Fox is covering some beauty pageant or some dog show. And when they do cover it, it's like everything's great. We're winning. Okay. Al Jazeera confirms U.S. and Israeli forces are bombing residential buildings in Iran, killing over 2,000 people. I don't know if that's true, but they're even striking nuclear facilities, risking a catastrophic radioactive disaster. All right, let's see what this says.
Areas in...
Okay, we're going to go to Ali Hashim, who is in Tehran for us. And Ali, can you just detail exactly what the Israelis and Americans are targeting right now? We're hearing a water reservoir has recently been hit.
Water reservoir.
Well, there have been several strikes in the past couple of hours. At least here in Tehran, we heard of 5. We don't know currently where they've been attacking, but what they are announcing in the statements is that they've been hitting some state or government buildings. We heard from Tabriz, from an official in the province there, that there've been an attack on a military base. So these are what we are hearing, at least for the past couple of hours. But in general, they are hitting several places. They're hitting, of course, government buildings, but they're hitting also residential buildings. They're hitting just like what happened earlier today and yesterday, when we saw the numbers of people killed in different areas in Iran. Also, the number, as you've been saying, has reached, after a month, around 2,000 people killed. And absolutely, there have been also attacks on nuclear facilities, just like yesterday. Some missiles hit around the Bushehr nuclear facility without hitting it directly, and that caused a lot of panic. Also, there was an attack directly on Iraq nuclear facility for the heavy water. Another nuclear facility in Yazd also was attacked. So we're hearing of different kinds of attacks, but in general, this is putting a lot of burden on the people and the state here in Iran.
Just like,
Because every
there's
Iranian-
10 million people in Tehran, and I know they're bombing the shit out of that, the capital there. Okay. Let's go. Here's a good one. A massive Iranian drone attack ongoing in northern Iraq this evening, with numerous impacts reported on the city of Erbil. Yeah, U.S. still has a base up there. And I think the Iranians are bombing it because they think maybe the U.S. will stage like an invasion force from there, from northern Iraq. Let's see this. Iraq. I don't know if there are U.S. troops in Iraq. I think they left Iraq, but they might be in northern Iraq still. But yeah, Iraq's getting involved. Lebanon, Yemen, all the Gulf countries. It's like literally a Middle East war. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's barely being reported here. Yeah, I saw that. They'll say, oh, it's a doll. The Israelis say, that's a doll. It looks like a residential building to me. I know they blew up an apartment building. They wanted it last week. They wanted to kill a nuclear scientist, and they killed him, but it was like a bunch of other people in his apartment building. Okay. Okay. Mark Levin still fighting with Megyn Kelly. Oh, God. Okay. This is interesting. Like we were saying about Philippines, in a state of emergency, people are freaking out. Cost of food, fuel, skyrocketing because of this. They're pissed off. We're feeling a little pain here, but we're a little more able to absorb the pain, I suppose. It still sucks, but there's third world countries that are like, they were already on the kind of like edge of poverty, so something like this is enough to push them over the edge. So Philippines, in India and Egypt, critical situation due to the war in the Middle East. So Goa fuel hunt has begun. Gas prices have risen by nine times. People are driving around the state in search of a working gas station and queuing for miles. That hasn't happened here, but that'd be crazy if it happened here. Sarnia. Fuel is being snapped up immediately. People are filling their tanks and collecting it in canisters. Egypt is introducing measures to control fuel consumption. I could see us doing energy lockdowns because of this. This is so much like COVID, this war, because they literally didn't. Usually with wars, they prepare you, like message you for a couple years even. And then you're ready to go. But here they just kind of dumped it on people, like the COVID. And they're like, oh, it's only going to last 2 weeks, the war, or a week. And then, oh, it's going to be a few months. And then, oh, we're going to have boots on the ground. And then, oh. So this reminds me of the COVID. And this kind of, remember, instead of toilet paper, now it's gas. But, energy lockdowns, why not? They did the COVID lockdowns. They'll say, hey, you don't be driving. You can't drive today. Like, they'll do like, oh, if you're, I don't know, like, if your name or aid is, I don't know, like, they'll say you can drive on certain days only or whatever, like, just like COVID. All right. Up to 1,000 Iranian sleeper agents embedded in Canada, according to government official. Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to use this war to, especially if there's like a kind of a terrorist attack, like a 9/11 thing. They're totally going to do police state. Like, I mean, we're already in police state in a sense of surveillance, but they're going to go nuts. They're going to make COVID look like a picnic. And so that when I see the story with sleepers in Canada, I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, they're just getting people primed up for police state. Because instead of like, hey, not starting wars and not having mass immigration from Muslim countries, no, let's go police state. Let's go with the police state solution. It's crazy. Here's one. Iranian ballistic missiles rain down on Israeli targets. Direct hits in El Nakab nearly completely contested by Israel's air defense. Ooh, that a big one. So yeah, everybody's getting bombed. It's been going on for a month too. Enter second month. Nearly 2,000 killed in U.S. Yeah. Second month. Okay. What's this say? Scoop. I don't know if this is... Who knows what to believe with these scoops, and this guy has a few followers, so... Pentagon preparing for weeks of ground operations in Iran. U.S. officials said as thousands of American soldiers and Marines arrive in the Middle East for what could become a dangerous new phase of the war, should President Trump choose to escalate. So that's kind of the message they're sending out. Ground troops, get used to it. It's only going to be for a few weeks, though. Okay. All right. This is interesting too. We were talking yesterday about the BB files, BIBI files. I gotta watch it. I got the documentary ready to watch. I've been watching clips of it. The guy's a total scumbag criminal, and we're talking about Netanyahu, and the big thing I saw, which I already knew, but he was giving money to Hamas for years, and because he wanted to divide the Palestinians. He wanted to prevent any chance of a Palestinian state or a peace agreement between Israel and Palestinians. So he said, we'll fund Hamas, and then we could blame them for obstructing the peace. Because they were terrified of peace. But this documentary shows how he was funding Hamas through Qatar. So yeah, so the reason that's important is because you get October 7th. October 7th you get Gaza, and then Gaza you got Iran. Like, see how it's all connected. It's all connected with this criminal Netanyahu. But instead of like putting the guy in jail or sending him to Guantanamo, he visits the White House and gets a standing ovation by U.S. in the Congress of the U.S. I don't know. I'm kind of still trying to figure how that is possible. They said they'd arrest him if he came to Canada. I mean, I hate a lot of stuff going on in Canada, but that's the one thing I have to agree with that decision. Like, at least it keeps him in his dirty underwear out of Canada. Netanyahu. Okay. So there's another. Pentagon preparing for weeks of military ground operations in Iran. So yeah. Weeks. We went from 4 days to weeks of 4 days of bombing to weeks of ground operations. That's crazy. Craziest rug pull ever. And Americans, a lot of the older Americans are just like, what? They just believe whatever the TV tells them. Okay. Okay. This is Mark Levin's guest tonight, Mark Thiessen. I don't know.
Donald Trump more than they hate the Iranian regime.
I think he was
that just massacred 32,000
I think he was
people.
speechwriter for George Bush. So that's Mark Levin has him on tonight. I don't want to give him too much, but I want to see what these guys are. Like I said before, the ones running this war are Israel, not the U.S. Because it's like anytime the U.S. talks about an off-ramp or diplomacy, Israel does something to escalate, like lots of stuff. The gas field bombing, the refinery bombing in Tehran, which turned the sky black. So this guy is like a Israel guy. So the reason I listen to him, even though I don't like these guys, is that's who's running this war, not Trump. It's Levin's masters. So let's see what he says about. I think I know what he's going to say, but
I've never seen a war where the Democrats turned against the war on day one and are rooting for defeat. You know, there are people in this country who hate Donald Trump more than they hate the Iranian regime that just massacred 32,000 people in their streets. You know, they were all very...
So basically, if you're against the war, you support Iran. Like, I mean, that's a pretty old line of attack for any war. It's like, oh, and then they mentioned the 30,000 people killed, which I don't even know if that's true, the number. But it's like, so basically, if you're against this stupid war, you're for the Iranian regime and you don't care about 30,000 people dead. Like, that's how desperate these guys are.
upset about what was happening.
Only a boomer
in
would buy
Gaza,
this slop.
But 32,000 people massacred, and then Donald Trump comes in to wipe out the genocidal regime that actually was committing genocide against its own people, massacring them in the streets like that. And but because it's Donald Trump, we have to play it down. We have to say it's a defeat. We have to say we're losing, and they're all going to have egg on their face because we're about halfway through this thing. And when this is all over, this is going to go down in history as possibly the greatest military campaign the United States has waged since the American Revolution.
So basically the opposite of what he said, because these guys are all liars, and everything they say, because everything they say is the opposite. Like they said the same thing about Iraq. It's going to be awesome. They're going to welcome us with open arms. It's going to be, the whole democracy is going to spread throughout the Middle East. So this guy worked for Bush, and he's so basically everything they said in Iraq, Libya, Syria has been the opposite. So bookmark that one. And then, we have to get the nuclear dust. This is the new, we have to invade. We have to get the nuclear dust.
For terror. Since 9/11, a whole bunch of the leadership, including bin Laden's son, escaped from Afghanistan to Iran, were given sanctuary by the Iranian regime, and they've been using it as a hub for terror around the world. And Al-Qaeda and Iran have teamed up for a series of terrorist attacks against us. People don't realize this, but we remember the bombings.
This
of the
is the exact same thing they said about Iraq.
Should have been our warning that 9/11 was coming. That was planned, and the terrorists were trained by Iran for doing that because Al-Qaeda didn't know how to bring down buildings, so they turned to Iran in order to get the training to do that.
They're demolition experts.
The idea that Iran, which is Shia, and Al-Qaeda, which is Sunni, would cooperate is not beyond measure. In fact, I mean, the Hamas is Sunni also. Iran works with Sunni terrorists around the world. And if we don't get that enriched uranium, and they want to get back at us for what we've done, the easiest way to do it would be to give it to Al-Qaeda and let them use it for a dirty bomb. No. So we have got to get what Donald Trump correctly calls the nuclear dust before.
So now we're going to hear about dirty bombs, nuclear dust, all to justify the true presence that's coming. And they're going to say exactly. That's why you got to watch Mark Levin, because they set the template for the rest of them. And they're going to say nuclear dust, uranium. We have to get it. It's going to be another 9/11. And they said the same thing about Iraq. They're going to give terrorists a dirty bomb. And literally the same script. Like, I lived it. I was in university at the time. And that was literally the biggest thing going on in university was the Iraq war and the lead up to it. And literally the same arguments that they're making for this war, they're saying about Iraq or Iran. And the only difference is Iran's 3 or 4 times as bigger than the Iraq. And the things in Iraq too, like, it's not just Iran. See, the Iraq war was limited to Iraq. It didn't really spread. The invasion, I mean. Not the first Gulf War, the invasion. It limited itself to Iraq. This one's already spread, like Iran, Gulf states, Yemen, Lebanon. Now Syria is looking more likely that they're going to get sucked into it. Maybe Turkey. So maybe Pakistan. So, and then who knows who else. So it's totally worse than the Iraq war. But they're using the same script from Iraq war. The Iraq invasion. So God help us. All right. I think that's about it for tonight. We'll see what more. I'm sure there'll be lots of bombings from now until the market open on Monday morning. And then Trump will start talking about peace all week. And then they'll probably have the troops by next weekend all set up. It's horrible. Anyway, have the rest of the night. Enjoy the rest of your night. Forget about all this bad shit. So, see you tomorrow night.